North St. Louis sits at a crossroads. The largest construction project in St. Louis history is taking shape, but some would argue it comes as a result of half a century of benign neglect. After all, these 97 acres became available for development in many cases because people left, homes crumbled, and were eventually cleared. Something else is also gone from here besides the houses.
There are a lot of obstacles, money being the biggest one, but also the deep suspicion of the remaining residents in terms of what's happened to them over the course of their and their parents' lives.
And in the end, trust, or lack of it, may be the biggest barrier to solutions. Are people in these neighborhoods going to trust anyone after what they've seen happen here? For starters, should they trust Paul McKee? Some believe there's little choice.
The way that I see it is nobody has created a North Side development plan in as long as I've been alive. Never seen it. Nobody knows about it. The only plan we know about is the Team 4 plan, which outlined detriment and depletion for our neighborhoods. There was never a plan that we've ever seen that anybody has spent the time putting together that can give you an idea of what it looks like to have some substantial investment in the North Side of St. Louis. And whether Paul McKee's done it or not, at least can see a plan from the man.
However, some of McKee's plans may have changed. This small construction site a few blocks from the new NGA location is on some of the property Paul McKee assembled. But he is not the developer. It's a company called Net Zero, looking to build extremely energy-efficient houses in this section of St. Louis Place. Their only dealings with Paul McKee involve buying his land for the project.
In the sense that he owns all of the, a vast majority of the land in this area, yes, and he has the desire to develop this.
Their goal of developing Montgomery Street near 20th really addresses two keys of the North Side's future. They're both utilizing Paul McKee-owned property and spinning off the big NGA project. They would not be here without it.
I mean, it's crucial, right? That's a multi-billion-dollar facility that's going in, and all of the jobs and everything that it's creating. It's allowing us this opportunity to, go forward with this development that's been much needed. And
how much the NGA involves itself in interacting with its neighbors could be the determining factor in whether or not it's the transformational project city leaders are insisting it will be.
What I hope, and I do not know the answer one way or the other, is that NGA itself, or whatever GSA rumors, is actually an active participant in neighborhood revitalization. Wash U, for example, took over, and SLU for that matter at the current time, is interested in their surroundings. Ralston was the same way, etc. Because if they improve the neighborhood around them, it's safer for their employees and customers. It's cleaner, you can stay there, people feel comfortable, and by the way, you've done good by doing well in the neighborhoods.
But will it be that or a giant walled-off government facility, a neighbor in geography only? The Net Zero developers say they're betting with real dollars that won't happen.
I don't see a big government thing with the wall. While it will be secure and it will be what it's intended to be, I think it's also going to be, a point, an epicenter to start that growth, right? When we start building these houses that we're doing here, these zero energy, highly efficient homes, and start to create a new feeling for a neighborhood, we fully expect that to catch on and start to bring in different aspects like the Grove is doing and different areas in the city that are, seeing that transformation and really getting a diverse crowd and enjoying all of the perks of being in the city.
That sort of redevelopment is what city leaders hope will make the NGA investment pay off. The initial numbers, up to $45 million in city tax credits over the next 30 years, combined with $95 million in state credits, hardly seem in balance with the mere $14 million NGA's website says they chipped in. Critics of the deal, like Percy Green, point back at city government.
They'll dance with the devil for all practical purposes in order to try to get reelected, and in so doing, they're selling out the community.
And what about the places miles from downtown? Places like the Wells Goodfellow neighborhood. That's where a lot of the demolition is happening. We told you earlier about Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey's investment in tearing down some of the area's most dilapidated buildings. He and partner Bill Pulte call it the St. Louis Blight Authority. We asked Dorsey back in July, who grew up in the city, if it's hard to stomach watching so much being raised in the name of progress.
I think it's, it's not just this moment. I mean, this is just the start. And while it looks like destruction right now, this clears the way for construction. And that's what I'm excited to see. So I don't put too much into this one moment because we have to come back and see how we follow through.
Well, it's kind of a systematic thing going back to the 60s that sort of allowed this to happen in North St. Louis. Do you feel like you're kind of starting to right a wrong here a little bit?
I'm focused on the present and what we can do. And in the present, we know we need to clean the slate and provide an opportunity for people to build.
Dorsey is actually bringing about some hope in the skeptics.
I've had mixed feelings about it. I would like to think that Dorsey is operating in the best interest of the community. I would like to think that with him being born during these times, hopefully that he had the type of experience that is far different in terms of righteousness than what his parents might have been subjected to.
But will Dorsey follow through? Will the latest version of city government follow through? That's what remains to be seen. The decades-long track record clearly isn't so great.
I see the same kind of impulse is still there, that it's a lot easier to start over, to clean things out. And I don't think it's necessarily always racist or anti-humanitarian thinking, because you look at these neighborhoods and they do have huge challenges, and the city government's ability to solve them might look very, very small, which is, I think, why we need new leadership at the helm of city government. Maybe somebody even like Jack Dorsey could play a role in that on a different level, because bringing Jack Dorsey in to demolish your house is like a very tiny Band-Aid, on a body that's fighting a disease. Having Jack Dorsey as mayor or an advisor to the mayor, you might start thinking of real strategies.
Among them, finding the ways to provide the sort of support the Team 4 plan recommended rationing all those years ago. That, nearly everyone agrees, will help bolster investment.
The reason that doesn't happen on any meaningful scale is that no one is stepping up to say, yeah, if the population increases, we will provide the schools, we will provide the policing, we will provide sort of the basic services that neighborhoods expect.
And finally, many believe it's time to break from Team 4's habits and start focusing major resources in these places many in the region couldn't find on a map.
So why are we using public resources in whatever forms to support more development in the Central West End, maybe around Cortex, the WashU Medical Center, maybe even right here in Midtown and parts of the SLU area? They've become, in my mind, places that are self-sustaining. We've made those investments, probably overmade them at this point in healthy areas. We need to go to the next neighborhoods out, if you will, and build those up so they build strength that can help move further north.
In some spots, it's already happening, maybe a block at a time, and it's these areas of small development that nurture the belief that momentum can be achieved. Benign neglect left to the pages of history. George Sells, MetroSTL.com.